All right, Clayton, after the show, it's the AfterB.O. Welcome to the AfterB.O on the B.O Boys YouTube channel. We just knocked it out of the park. Brand new episode of the podcast. We were talking the opening weekend, the Marvels, talking Coyote v. Acme. I would say an
In that
all-time
order.
classic episode in that order. And you know what? In retrospect, sure, it worked out. That was an all-time great episode. You're right. We started with the Marvels because Coyote v. Acme was a bigger story, and you end with a bang, and that's what we did. So it worked
is,
out.
yeah. The reverberations of it are going to be bigger long term.
Yes, than
I
the
think.
Marvels. Yeah.
Yeah.
So great episode. If you haven't already, that episode is on this YouTube channel, on all the podcast apps, blah, blah, blah. But we're here in the AfterB.O, and we're talking Saturday Night Live, new episode, starring Wonka himself, Timothee Chalamet, his second time hosting. Of course, he hosted famously in, what was that, spring of 2021 for, or no, it would have been fall of 2021 promoting Dune.
Yes.
That's when it would have been. He wore, of course, on live national television. We can't stress that enough. Wore the legendary hoodie in protest of the day and date on HBO release of Dune.
Yeah.
And he's back to promote Wonka. So, Clayton, when did you watch this episode of Saturday Night Live?
Fuck it. I did it live.
Wow.
I did it live.
Wow.
And I felt like I
That's
needed
huge.
to because Chalamet, big movie actor, could be
Yep.
star.
Yeah.
We like to watch. I mean, we watch SNL every week at some point, whether it's
Mhm.
next day or fuck it, doing it live.
Mhm.
But we pay special notice to when actors host, because
Yes.
these hosting duties can really make someone pop. Look at someone like The Rock. The Rock is a guy, everybody said, oh, this guy, he's a wrestler. He can't be an actor. He can't be in movies. And then he hosts some great SNLs.
Yep.
And look where the guy is now. I mean, obviously he's in the toilet now, but he
Right.
was at the
He was,
highest top of the
and
mountain.
he could always climb out of the toity.
He's a guy who can come out of the toity at some point.
100%. Yeah.
But when you look at someone like Chalamet, who had a fun first hosting.
Yep. Had the tiny horse sketch, had the legendary hoodie, you know, he had that rapper character. He had a good time.
I mean, he's got a recurring. I mean, he came back, did rapper thing again. No Pete Davidson, thank God.
Yes.
And here's the thing. And I'll give my little review of him as the host.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was fine and a lot of fun.
Yep.
And the thing is that this is his persona that is good, right? He is a cool guy who is goofing around when he's hosting. He's not getting too invested because he's a little too cool for that, and he's too much of a heartthrob for that.
He throws you a little devilish smile to let you know he's not tanking the sketch by any means. He's going for it, but he's still letting you know, hey, it's still me, it's still Timmy back here. Yeah.
And I think that is a perfect thing for him to do.
Yes.
When the sketch where he was Troy Sivan, where he didn't do the accent, because he even says in the sketch, I can't do the accent.
Did you know who that
he's a musician.
So, okay. And it is specifically, is he a TikTok creation, or is he a musician who would be covered in Pitchfork?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's actually, like, he started out online. He actually was a musical guest very early in his viral career on SNL. He was a musical guest, and he probably will be a musical guest again, I'm assuming. But he has a very popular song right now, and he puts out albums that are critically acclaimed. But he didn't do the accent, He showed his little tush in the red undies. The ladies went crazy.
Yeah.
And, you're right. He had that impish quality where he wasn't laughing. He wasn't saying, this is stupid. He was playing around, and that playful energy really attracts people. So I think he did a really good job. Now, is it Jason Priestley and Teenage Fan Club?
No, but that's an all-time. That's maybe the greatest episode of SNL of all time.
Yeah. So if we're talking about that, it's not, right? Right. But you have him with Boygenius. I mean, Boygenius at the top of their power right now. So it was a fun episode, and I think he did what he needed to do to promote this movie.
Yes. He did a little meta song about promoting Wonka during his monologue. And, he picked up the Wonka cane. And so he got Wonka in there up top during the monologue, and he wore the Oompa hoodie to close the show. He didn't wear officially licensed Wonka merch from the Warner Brothers website to close the show. He wore this Oompa hoodie that was probably fan made, or like, some downtown artist made it, and it's a hoodie. And so the guy played it great. He played the promoting great on SNL this week. So you watched it live, and did you fall asleep at any point? Were you wide awake till 1 a.m.?
Wide awake.
And then just rode that straight into the 1 a.m. showing of Showtime at the Apollo. You just were like, let's see if the Shaggy Bill Clinton impersonator is going to be on tonight.
I flipped over to Comics Unleashed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, classic Saturday night experience. So you watched the whole thing live. I watched it. I was not able to watch it to do it live on Saturday night. I watched it with my wife later this evening, Sunday evening.
Okay.
So I saw it there on Peacock in full. She did not want to watch the Boygenius performances, so we watched the episode, skipped through those. I went back and watched them. So I have seen the complete show.
Okay.
My wife had no interest in seeing Phoebe Bridgers' Boygenius.
Wow.
I did.
Missing out.
Yes. So I have now also seen the complete episode, and I gotta listen. It's such a weird spot where we will watch every episode of SNL ever made while we were live at this point, because it's so easy to do so. You after did it live this week, you don't every week, but this point we'll watch every episode. And I think we've grown, to just show the audience where we're at as SNL people, at least for me. I've grown to a point where I get what SNL is. I'm always rooting for it to be good. I think from this point on, I will always be rooting for it to be good.
Yeah.
And for SNL to be a good episode, if I like 2 or 3 things quite a bit in an episode, and I just like the vibe and the host comes off well, it's a thumbs up episode. So for me, this was an easy thumbs up episode. It's not Jason Priestley and Teenage Fan Club.
What is?
Nothing is. Greatest episode of all time, perhaps.
Yeah.
But this to me is a slam doink thumbs up.
I agree. When you said vibes, the vibes were good.
Yes.
I laughed. I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yeah.
I do think we are actually burying a huge story.
Okay.
Because Alec Baldwin.
Show.
Well, I was so happy.
Yes.
Because we've had this conversation. Does he get to come back on after the whole Rust stuff? Is Lorne going to say, come back on the show? We were like, will he be on the 50th? Is that possible? They're weaning him back in.
Yeah.
They're saying, listen,
they dipped their toe in.
Guys. He's one of our guys. And you know what? He got a good laugh at the end. And then when Timothee Chalamet said, thank you, Alec Baldwin.
Yes, that was huge.
Thank you, Alec Baldwin, because they know.
Well, I think they were okay. This was huge in the final sketch. He came on for a out of left field cameo, was on screen for like less than 10 seconds in that sketch, and kind of didn't even have a joke. Like the joke, I mean, that was not a very good sketch. It was a bad sketch.
No, but the joke was, let's get calm. And obviously he's not a calm guy. So,
which is such an interesting way to bring him back, because obviously pre the horrible incident where someone died, pre that, Baldwin did, of course, famously have the reputation of a hothead and, all that.
Yeah.
That was already his reputation, but it is post what happened that he shot someone and they died, to bring him back where the immediate joke is, let's get calm. No, of course it's him, that, but I think obviously they're playing on his persona pre that, which was already hothead, which we're not gonna, but
I mean, he
not to
he
dissect
didn't
it,
shoot
but
someone out of anger. It was an accident.
yeah. So this was definitely SNL testing the waters. I'm sure Baldwin had been pushing for it for a while because for him and his career, this is a huge deal to
Yeah.
sort of get back at least on SNL and have that be part of his career public persona rehab. And they did it in the most cautious way possible, which is he was basically going on at 12:59, which, in an earlier part of human history would have made a difference because so many fewer people would have seen that, back in like 1992,
Yeah.
less people saw a 12:50 sketch than an 11:35 sketch. Of course,
Oh, yeah.
nowadays, none of that matters because it's all exists on the internet in the same exact way or on Peacock in the same way. So it doesn't really matter that he went on last. Everyone has seen that sketch,
Yeah.
but I guess they're just seeing what the response is, and I haven't really checked. I don't know if people are in an uproar
Yeah.
about it or if people kind of don't care, and all they could hope for is that people don't care.
I think the thing is that while you're saying that it doesn't really matter, it does matter in the sense of if somebody's watching this
Mhm.
and, they're watching it like you did this evening with your
Right.
wife. If Baldwin is in the cold open or
Mhm.
Baldwin comes out dressed
Yes.
as Willy Wonka, it's a possibility that this poisons the well for the
Yes, you're right.
entire
Yep.
episode. So every sketch after that, people are thinking, "Oh,"
It's
or
Bald yeah.
or they're psyched, who
Or
knows?
there's like but there's a
But
big chance that it kind of poisons the rest of the show if Baldwin's on early.
and s
I mean, no matter what your opinion of what he said was, the Woody Harrelson monologue last year when he told that
yes.
long joke and it was a sort of whatever, anti-vaccine, whatever you take of that issue, I
Mhm.
do think that Woody Harrelson monologue kind of did affect the crowd in that room that night for the rest of
Yes.
that episode. And you're
And
right.
he's a
If
classic host. He is a
and
guy
if
who's
and should
hosted
host again
2
and again and again. Yes.
classic episodes,
Yeah.
and you when you poison the well that way, it's very difficult because the sketches, even if you're watching them piecemeal online, the
Yeah.
audience is gonna have a different reaction to the
Yes.
host.
Yes, it's true. You do have to also do the show for the people in the studio audience in the room. So yeah,
Yeah,
Baldwin did have to go on last. I wonder what the response will be. Obviously, he's never going to be a movie star again.
but he wasn't
He
I mean, he was doing, that movie was not a big budget movie. I mean,
no, no, no.
he was not a movie star at that point
But I
anyway.
think he was a very castable in big projects actor, which is what he's trying to get to again. He was a guy who could be in The Departed. Obviously, that was a while ago, but he's a guy who could be a big Mission Impossible Fallout. He's a big part in that. I think, post the shooting, he's a guy who right now you can't put in the next Mission Impossible movie. He's working back towards being that, and the SNL appearance is a huge step for him
His
to
hope is,
do
can
that.
he do TV? Can he get a Charlie Sheen type, a
Right,
sitcom? I mean, Charlie Sheen is now back with, the gentleman from 2 and a Half Men. They're doing a show together.
right. So yeah, him being on SNL, and I think being next to Chalamet, being next to Phoebe Bridgers,
Mhm.
it's like they kind of have no choice in the matter. I don't know if Phoebe Bridgers was disgusted by being next to Alec Baldwin, whether she loved it, whether she has no idea who he is, which is very
Yeah.
possible. But I think him being in that image is good for him, and we'll see how that goes. So, um, yeah, the vibe of the show was really fun. What are some things that you because listen, we didn't like that last sketch. I'm sure there was, Weekend Update is what it is. But what is something that stood out for you? What was your favorite thing in the episode?
I mean, that's the thing, is that nothing really blew me away. It was
Right.
just sort of the fact that he was out there having fun, and it's nice to see a young star
Mhm.
playing around in this arena because, like, the last episode I thought was really great. Nate Bargatze, and now
Yes.
this guy is a stand-up,
Yes.
which is, again, it's the lowest form of entertainment probably.
Yes.
But he
Lower
did
than pornography.
absolutely.
Yes.
He did such a great job that, this guy is gonna get a lot of opportunities from that. So, is it a
Yes.
movie? Because comedy movies don't really do much, but that's possible. He nailed it that hard,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the power of SNL. I don't think this, is going to put Chalamet at any higher level than he already is, because he's already a guy that's in big movies, and it's whatever those movies are gonna do, we're gonna do.
But it
But this
creates that awareness for Wonka that, it created a lot of awareness, I think, for that movie that wasn't there a week ago. I
yeah.
do think that it'll translate to dollars, but I do think him hosting SNL, being able to promote, we've seen it. We've seen it with a lot of movies this fall, that movie star is not what it was, but you need people to promote these movies. So I do think this helps Wonka a lot.
And the way those girls were screaming for him,
Yes,
boys and people
and
were
people.
screaming for him. That bodes well. That makes me think, "Oh, Wonka could be a hit. Wonka
Yeah,
could be a thing that wanna B.O. boys, wanna B.O. girls, wanna B.O. people
people.
go see." So that's what I took from it. I don't think there was one standout thing. I mean, I'm a big Boygenius fan, so I really liked their performances. I thought it was
Yes.
really fun. That was great,
He
and otherwise, I just
here's what I'll throw out there is, like, this is not one of the greatest sketches of all time or anything, but I do think in terms of analyzing SNL, where SNL cast members are at, I do think that orphan sketch with the
oh,
new
good
cast
one.
member, Chloe Trost, is the classic rookie breakout performance,
Mhm.
and will this lead to next week? She's in 3, 4 sketches. Who knows? A lot of times you have this big sketch and then you're gone for 2 weeks, but it's the kind of sketch where she was the orphan girl who sang, and turns out she's an old woman. And, I thought that was a funny sketch,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it
that
was
was a
such
good
a
one.
big performance where she got to sing. She's basically it's her and Chalamet in a two-shot the whole time. She carries the whole sketch. It's probably a character or a sketch, I would bet. I don't know anything, but I could see this being a trunk sketch, something that she would have done in her pre-SNL live career.
She did it at
And
the Pit,
right, right.
probably.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of, to me, the most important sketch of the
Yes,
night in a way, because it introduced a new cast member to the SNL audience.
and it perfectly encapsulated what's good about, Chalamet as the host, is that he was the man
Yes.
in the moon,
Yep.
and nailed he nailed the jokes,
Yep.
but there was also that sort of like, "Oh, I find this amusing as well."
Yes, he wasn't breaking. He wasn't doing the Fallon thing where he's breaking, but he was reacting in a way of, "Hey, audience, react to this the way I am."
He put her over,
He put her over. Yes. Yes.
and that's
Yes.
also what you want from a host, because you want the
Yes.
cast members to put you over, but especially with her, him being a guy who's already done this, already
Right.
hosted,
Right.
putting her over, because he coulda easily been like, "I don't wanna be in a sketch with this newbie, I wanna be in a sketch with Sarah Sherman."
Yes. 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 I'm only gonna be in sketches with John Lovitz,
Yeah,
something like
and
that. And that they really would have had a talking to with him. But yeah, he could have only wanted to be in sketches with the most Bowen, Sarah
yes.
Sherman, only the big famous cast members.
Yeah. So, but he put this new girl over, and that also shows to the audience out there, oh, this guy, you know, he's not. I mean, he's a nice dude. He
He's a
does
nice
these
dude.
things.
Yeah.
Who knows? He could be an absolute scumbag in private life, but we're talking about his persona
Right.
on screen,
Yeah.
And what girl isn't going to have a crush on a guy who helps out
Right.
a newbie at
Right.
SNL get
Right.
their big star turn? That is
Right.
just, that makes me feel good for everybody involved.
Yeah. So I think a huge night for her. I think another, Sarah Sherman hasn't had a Jewish Elvis yet this season,
Mm-mm.
but I think the Nate Bargatze episode, she finally got a couple of bigger sketches on. She did the Fran Drescher. She did the weekend update piece with
Oh,
Colin
Collins.
that went over
Yeah. She
his
was a
agent.
Collins agent. That was great. That was
Yes.
great. That was
So
great.
she had some big ones on that episode. This episode, she had the sketch. What was the name of the singer that you mentioned
Troye
before?
Sivan.
So she had the Troy Sivan sketch where she's the lead, she's the patient in that. So I think she had a good episode. I mean, some cast members that I think uh, I'm this season, I think have been a bit lost is last year's rookie, Michael Longfellow, who
Yeah.
I did think had a good first season, really established a cool guy, young guy persona, sort of like a young Norm Macdonald. I'm not saying comparing that in terms of quality, but
Yeah. But
he
the
had that
vibe.
persona and he got in a lot of stuff his first season last year. I haven't seen him in much this season, and I think he's starting to get a little lost in the background right now, so he's gotta figure something out.
I
Uh,
think with that is Mikey Day
yes.
is eating up a lot of those things that you
Yeah.
would have him do,
Yep.
the straight man characters.
Yep.
I think that is an issue.
It's a big issue
It's
on this
becoming
season.
a
Yeah.
Kate Cecily situation with Mikey, where
Yes.
Mikey's like, "Why write a lot of these sketches? So I gotta be the guy." And it's like,
Yep.
you should not be the guy because you are too old to be the guy.
Yeah,
That
and
doesn't
you're
mean that
not the
you
guy.
and you're
You
not the
if you
guy,
were
and
gonna
you
be the
never were
guy,
the
you
guy,
would have been the guy.
and you're not the
Listen,
guy.
we're not Mikey Day fans,
No.
as we're not Mikey Day fans. Um, but I'm sure there's people out there, or the guy's been on the show a long time. He's got to have some fans. But this season really does feel like this was my prediction. I told you off mic a few weeks ago. I feel like they already know, and I hope this is the case, that he's leaving the show mid this season. That's my prediction, is that the Christmas episode this year, like it was last year with Cecily, is going to be Mikey Day's last episode. He's not going to do the full season.
Mhm.
And therefore, right now, he's being used at a rate that's, I mean, just way too high in terms of where the show should be at now, but is higher than it's ever been. And I
I
think
just
that is
think
because, hopefully, and maybe this is me wishing that he's going to be gone after December. And so they're giving him that sort of like big final run. Um,
I feel it's more like he's a guy who churns out sketches. They know that they play to the home audience, not the home audience, I'm sorry, the studio audience for some reason. So just put him out there, on when it's very hard, when like sometimes, making for some of these newbies, coming up with sketch ideas and things like that. It's like, trying to get blood from a stone. Mikey Day has his things that he always relies on, and
right. His
he can
scat
churn these
humor.
things
Yeah.
out in his sleep.
Yeah. Here's a character who gets cucked. Here's a character who does a scat,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's able to just churn out 10 of those a week.
Here's a
Yeah.
character that's been saying, "What is happening? What's going on?" I mean,
Right.
these are things that are working to some extent, and they just keep the machine going.
Right.
And I think there's a fear that once he leaves, what's going to take that place, and something always does.
Yeah. I mean, it
So
should be, and we've seen it work last year. It should be Dismukes. It should be Michael
Dismukes,
Longfellow.
yes,
If Mikey Day was gone, I think both of those cast members would be getting a lot more stuff. I mean, I think like your Sarah Shermans, your Bowens,
JAJ,
JJ, they're not going to be affected by Mikey Day being there, but I do think Dismukes
yes,
really could benefit from Mikey Day moving on to going back to Nickelodeon or wherever his next step would be.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that the Chloe Trost orphan sketch to me was my favorite sketch of the night, and I think the most important sketch. The Please Don't Destroy sketch was good. It was, I would say, middle, maybe below average tier for them.
You know,
It was fine though.
I'm excited for their movie
Yep.
because I watched the first 4 minutes that they made available, and it looks fun.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet. I didn't know
Yeah.
that that was available.
So it's available online, you can look it up, but, you know, their hit rate is pretty low compared to something like Lonely Island, it feels like. I
Right.
think they don't really hit a lot of homers.
Okay.
It's a
They
lot
they
of
don't
base hits
strike
for me
out
with them.
almost ever. But yes, you're right. There's never been a dick in the box from them. They're not built, I think, to ever hit those heights.
Yeah.
I think there's also something to they are doing one of those videos every episode. Lonely Island, I don't think there was a digital
No,
short
they
every single week.
there was, I believe there was.
For those, like, 5, 6 years Sandberg was on,
Sometimes they got
there was
cut.
100 digital shorts. Well, I mean, the Please Don't Destroy almost never get cut. They are
They
on every week.
celebrated 100 digital shorts. There's a digital
Wow.
short that is 100 digital is
Wow.
celebrating their 100th digital short. Yeah, they
I'm
did.
waiting for the DVD, that's the problem.
Oh, yeah, you gotta get the DVD.
Yeah.
The thing is they did have the big one with Pete Davidson and Taylor Swift, the ugly versions or whatever it was. That
Right,
sort of went
right.
viral, but
Yeah.
you're right, there's just so much more. I
Right,
mean, when you're talking about Lonely Island, I mean, they made YouTube what it was
right,
by people posting Lazy Sunday. So
right, right,
there's a level of like novelty to that I think Please Don't Destroy is running into. They are very funny guys who have a real uh, good rapport and their rhythm is really funny, but like I just don't think that they reach those heights for me. For
right,
me,
right, right. But I think where we've also grown as people and
people.
as SNL fans is you realize that it's gotta be for the younger people, and
Oh
I do
yeah.
genuinely think they are funny, but I also realize I shouldn't think they're as funny as a 13-year-old thinks they are.
Yes, true.
So, but yeah, I would say this week was below average in terms of them, but still fun because again, Chalamet was just always engaging. Yeah, nothing else really stood out. Heidi's weekend update character is one she's done before. I liked it the first time. It was the same one this time, and it was fun. But nothing blew the doors off. The weekend updates have been very short this season,
Short, yeah.
and they've all, I think, only been one character.
Yes,
I don't
that's a
know if
big
they've
thing.
done a two or I mean, in the past, there's been three character updates, and this year only one character update. So
And
I
that's
think
why
that's
Longfellow
yes,
was really hitting it out of the park with those, so we'll
yes,
see.
yeah. And do we know who the next host is? Is there an
Momoa,
announcement? Momoa, is that next
another
week?
return.
Yeah, so I mean, it's great. We're getting big actors promoting big theatrical releases.
Wait, did
Um,
Momoa host or did he just do a cameo?
I think he has hosted already. I
Okay.
think he has hosted
He has
before.
to have, right?
Yeah, and I don't remember it. I'm pretty sure we watched that, and our takeaway, yes, he hosted with Mumford and Son, season
Oh,
44
Jesus.
back in 2018.
Wow, what a different
Um,
world we lived in.
yeah, it was promoting the first Aquaman movie. I'm pretty sure my immediate reaction to that was no The Rock hosting. Of course, Jason Momoa gets a lot of Rock comparisons, but
Yeah.
um, so I'm, I don't think I'd be surprised if the Momoa episode is a classic,
Mhm.
is ends up being one of the top 5 of this season. But
Yeah.
I also think he'll be serviceable and he'll make fun of himself. And I'll be
Yeah.
curious to see, do they make fun of the decline of superhero movies? Because obviously if the B.O. boys were guest writing on an episode of SNL, slam doink, there's a sketch about the decline of the box office of superhero movies for the Jason
Mhm.
Momoa episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but again, another big actor trying to promote their movie.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we'll see if it pays dividends with Aquaman 2.
And they opened up with a political sketch, and who cares this week? Again, a
Yep.
political sketch. Who
Well,
cares?
that's been
It
the
was a get
strength
through
of
it.
SNL is that they leave it there and
Yep.
then call Jost and Che do like 2 political jokes, and then it's all just weird stuff in the news.
Yes. I mean, that is the biggest breath of fresh air last season and this season compared to the, last few seasons of the Kate and 80 era, is that this group clearly does not want to do political comedy.
Leave
And
that
political
shit to
comedy is,
Bill
yeah,
Maher, Pod
leave it.
Save America.
Yep. Yep.
All the mayonnaise men who are back getting 0.04 shares at 11:30 at night.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it for this SNL. Good episode, fun episode, nothing great, but just above average episode.
Yeah, above average. I see what you did there.
There you go. I wonder if you could still find those.
Oh, I think
Possibly.
so.
Yeah, you can't watch Acme v Coyote, but you could find the above average web series from 2009. So
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe not.
Things are disappearing.
Yeah. If you could get a tax write-off on those, I think that we're in favor of.
Oh, yeah. Get a write down for sure.
All right, Clayton. So I think that is it for this AfterB.O. So
it has to be.
Yeah. So thanks for watching the AfterB.O.